Hi there, it's Karen here. Welcome back to Christmas Crafting 2024. And today at last we're going to get to make the journal cover and put the journal together. So this is a journal cover, type of journal cover I've not made before. I'm being inspired by Barbara at 49 Dragonflies because this is based on the covers that she makes for her planner journals, which are a lot fatter than mine is going to be, but it's that idea of having something it's quite expandable, because all my journals before have ended up being far fatter than I originally thought they would be. So I thought, well, actually, let's allow for the growth this year. I finally learnt my lesson. So if you remember, I have my two signatures, which both still need a little bit of work, but I'm using them as the base for the size of this cover. And I've got this paper bag. It's an Amazon paper bag. I'm sure you're all familiar with this kind of thing. So it's slightly smaller than the ones that Barbara uses, but then it's got to be cut down anyway, and hers always have to be cut down. So I've got, what have I got? I've got this gigantic ruler here, which I've had for a long time but hardly ever use, but because I'm working on a slightly bigger scale, I thought it would be handy, because I think what I need to do is measure it at 13.5 inches. That's what I've worked it out, and I'll show you what I mean, because I want to allow about a good inch for my spine and for the wraparound. So I've kind of laid it, I've laid my journal at, okay, I can't read it now. Let's move it up. Whoops. So the good thing about these T-squares is you can just line it straight up and you know it's square. And then 13 inches is there. So to allow just a little bit for extra fluffiness at the side, I thought if I cut it at 13.5 and then wrap it around and then put my binding, I'm going to do the elastic binding, so I've got to allow a bit top and bottom for that. So I'll do that in a moment. So I'm allowing, so 13 inches is allowing an inch for the spine, and then another half an inch length, so it allows just a little tiny bit either side for binding and lace and stuff. So I'm thinking if I cut it at 13.5, that should be hopefully about the right size. So let's just do that. No, before I do that, before I do any cutting or anything like that, I need to glue this flap down. Let's just do that first. To seal it all up. I'm going to do thoroughly, because I'm going to be cutting it across the top of here. So I need this to be thoroughly glued so that when I do cut it down, it's not going to start to come undone. Let's do that first. I've been looking forward to doing this, but now I'm doing it. I'm thinking, I hope I get it right. I've probably got another one of these bags, but I haven't. Depends how far I get. If I start putting the fabric on and then finding it doesn't work, I'm in trouble, because I love the fabric I've chosen. Right, so that should be nicely glued down. Let's see if this, I don't know if this label will come off. I don't think I even care. Just going to leave it there because it's going to be folded in. Right, so now, I don't think I need this anymore. Now I'm going to measure it at 13 top and bottom and then cut it down. It's just about behind this seam here, isn't it? 13.5, I was going to cut it out, wasn't I? That's right. Just to allow a little bit extra. Allow expansion. Yeah, I don't know why I've never thought to use this before, because this is perfect. You don't have to, you know that it's, as long as the paper bag's square, this should be about right. Okay. And then draw my line across, and then I can cut it. So it's not very much to cut off, but I think if I left it at the full size, it would just be too big, too flappy. So let's just cut this down here. Oh, it's thick at this end because it's got the gusset. Right, so I might just, I don't know if this bit will need to come off. Probably best if it does now. Right, so I will be sewing, once I've covered it, I will be sewing around this, so I'm not going to worry about this being open. So, yes, so now I need to do the height. So I'm sorry if I pause every now and again to think what I'm doing next. As I say, I haven't done this kind of cover before, where I've got to allow for the binding, top and bottom. So I need to, so the top binding will be about, I suppose I need to allow about half an inch, or maybe more, I don't know, half an inch for the binding. As long as the binding's near the top, I could do it there, and then where'd I put my pencil? There it is. So I'll allow about half an inch at the top as well. And then I just put the binding just in from the top. I don't want it too close because I don't want it to sort of pull on the pages, but at the same time I don't want them to be rattling around. So it's quite a tricky thing when you've not done it before. So how tall is that? Then I can make sure I cut it at the same height all the way along. It would be an awkward height, wouldn't it? 9 and 5/8. Fair enough. So I'll cut and mark it 9 and 5/8 here. Just double checking. And 9 and 5/8 there. And I'll draw my line. Hopefully a straight line joining these all up. Okay. Okay. Hopefully don't need that anymore. And we'll cut it down. And here we have our journal cover, hopefully now, about the right size. Let's see how it looks. Wrap that around. Nice bit of room to grow and room for the little binding top and bottom. Okay, good. Hopefully that's it. So that's the inside. This is going to be the outside. So these are the fabrics I've chosen. They're more of the Hobbycraft fat quarters, but they're such lovely fabrics. And my cover is going to be this one because I think it's gorgeous. So I've got that. I mean, I have got a parcel waiting for me to open over there somewhere. And I haven't opened it yet because I need to kind of have a moment to myself. But it's got some of the Rachel fabrics in, the Rachel Christmas fabrics. And I thought, well, I might want to use one of those, but I don't think they'll be quite big enough. I think they're A4, and this is going to be bigger than A4. So I'm not going to tempt myself with trying to squeeze it on because I don't think it'll work. So I had already chosen this fabric, so I think I'll look at those afterwards and use them for other things. So I've got to try and now cut this to size. Okay. I'm not going to wrap around, I'm just going to have it overhanging a little. And I mustn't forget my closures. Don't let me forget my closures because I don't want to glue this. The whole reason I've been waiting is because I wanted to put some ribbon in between. Oh, look at that edge. Oh, I must use that. Turn it around. If you can see this, it's got this lovely frayed edge. Beautiful. So I'm going to use that. Quite like to use that on the front. Yes, it will be on the front, won't it? So if I have that going there. Will that be on the front? Yes, it will. Lovely. Okay, we'll have that. And let's just tear this off a piece. Tear the piece off, or should I tear it off that way? I think I should tear the longer piece first because that will save me a larger piece, won't it? Yes. Yes, it will. So I'm just going to allow a little bit of overhang, top and bottom. Sorry, it's quite hard to work in this space and keep you on camera. Sorry about this if you can't see everything I'm doing here. I'm trying to keep it on camera pretty much. Something's not entirely straight. Okay, that will... That's... Okay. I'd rather have it a little bit too big and then have to trim it than have it not big enough and then I've got a gap. So I probably will have to trim it, but it's okay. I'd rather do that. Let's just see if I can tear this down. Oh, it tears lovely. It does in that direction anyway. Okay, so that's a nice big spare piece. And right, I've got to tear at the other end now. This is, yes, that's the front. I'm just going to do that, lay that on there. Tear that there. Right, hopefully this is now the right size. That's my front. And have it that way, and the nice fancy edge on there. This something at the bottom here is not looking very straight. It hasn't torn very straight, which is a bit of a shame. It's torn very crooked, oh dear. Is it going to be... Oh, I'm not sure it's going to be big enough. That's tragic. Let's see if I can stretch it. Ugh. Oh, that has not torn straight at all. I was so sure that tearing was the way to go. But look at that, that has not torn straight at all. Oh dear. Now what am I going to do? Don't know if this piece is big enough now. That's big. No, it's not. I may have to just cut the envelope down a fraction just to allow for that. Well, that's what I'll do. Let's see, shouldn't be much, and I might still be okay to get my binding on. Let's see, I think that's what I'm going to have to do. Make sure they've got enough on this side. So I need to take off about 1/4 inch, something like that. So with any luck, it'll still be okay. Yeah, I'm going to take off 1/4 inch all the way down. Makes me sad that it's not going to be perfect, but I'd rather my fabric was covering the whole thing. So I'm taking it off the open end. So I do need my big ruler again. It's a bit tricky, but let's see if we can get that. Where are we? Okay, hopefully that's now about the right size. Shall we see if it'll cover it now? Should just about do it. Sometimes it stretches a bit when you put the glue on as well. So let's just get it on and see how we get on with this. I'm going to have the dodgy bit at the bottom so I can see what I'm doing. And that's the top. Right, so I'm just going to put the glue on a bit at a time, as I always do, section by section, and not right to the edge because that's where I shall sew. I'm getting my big bottle out. Oh, no, 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 no. I knew I'd forget. Before I do anything else, I've got to get my ribbon. So I wanted to put that inside. I'll spread this out. I need to probably put some more on. I don't want it to dry lumpy, so I'll spread it out. Not quite ready to put the fabric on yet. I got so distracted by the fabric not being the right size. Forgot about the ribbon. No, no, no. Right, so what I would like to do is just choose. So my idea, I'll put this wet thing away aside, was to have my ribbon tucked underneath the fabric and sewn into it, rather than putting in an eyelet and tying it up. I thought if I could use it, because it actually, I've decided it looks better, it might look better than having a knot underneath. So I've got this stuck on my hand. So I've got a couple of choices of different lengths and different colours of tartan ribbon, and I was just, because we've got quite a lot of tartan in the kit. I wondered if a tartan ribbon would look quite nice, but I'm not sure because I didn't know how it would look with the fabric of the cover. So I've got this one, which is 1 inch wide, and I've got this one, which is wider still, but it's got a bit of black running through it. Oh, and it's wired. I might have to take the wire out. Not sure about the wiring, it makes it too stiff if I use this. No, I'm not sure I like that as much. Anyway, so no. And I have this gold one, which is also wide, but is really lovely. I wonder if this is too wide. This isn't wired either, but it is a bit on the wide side for making a bow, but how gorgeous does that look with the fabric? Oh, it's a tough choice. How easy is it going to be to make a bow with this very wide ribbon? Oh, I do love it though. And I've only got 1 metre of each of these. I hope that's long enough. It'll have to be. Let's see. Okay, so I don't think this is going to quite work to tie the bow because I just think it's too wide. But I will use it, I will try and use it somewhere on the cover because I think it's gorgeous. So I think we'll go with this one and just hope that 1 metre's long enough, because I wasn't really thinking about it being the closure when I ordered it, otherwise I'd have ordered 2 meters just to make sure. So I think the only thing I can do is cut it in half. I don't think I've got anything else that would work. Oh, it's quite long. Well, it's probably more than I need, isn't it? It's a long piece for tying a bow, so maybe I don't need as much as that, but I don't want to go too short, but it gives me a little bit to play with for decoration, doesn't it, if I cut it a little shorter than that. Let's see. Be lovely to make clusters with or something. Is that going to be sufficient? Yeah, okay, let's go with that, I think. And then cut that in half. Alright, now I have my ribbon. Now I can glue. Put all these bits over here. Right, so this is the front. That's the front of the cover. So what I need to do is put a decent amount in there to anchor it. And I hope I've left myself enough. I'm going to try doing this again. Still quite wet, the looks of it. Little lump kind of developing there, so let's just smooth that out. Probably should get my... Oh gosh, have we not gone far enough up the top now? Oh, goodness gracious. So worried about the bottom half, I not made it high enough at the top. Okay. You've got to go up there. Yes. Let's do this last bit, but I've got to put my ribbon in first. Oh, make sure it's the same height as the other. I mean, I just plonk that in roughly in the middle. Right. Okay. Maybe put it there. A tiny little dollop on the top. And then see if we can get this last piece of fabric to cover the rest of the envelope. I think we've managed. I think the envelope is covered. Just goes to show you need to allow plenty either side in case things go wrong. Only just allowed enough, and then I had to cut the envelope down a bit, didn't I? Right. So what have we got on the other side? So I've got a reasonable amount on this side, that's good on the front. I'll probably cut this down a little bit. There's a little bit showing on the top. And I will need to just trim this down a bit at the bottom. So I'll do that bit first, and then we'll do the inside cover and hope we don't have another disaster. I don't think I'll be tearing that one. So even if I'm not straight, I shouldn't be quite as far off as this one was. And then I'll just take a bit off of this end. Right, so now we need to cut the... Oh, did I show? I don't even think I showed you my inside covered fabric, did I? This is the green. And I chose it because it goes really well with my signatures. because it goes lovely with this, and just as lovely with this one. In fact, even better with that one. So I may struggle to know which one to put on the top. So we'll see. And I can probably chop it around because it is not going to be permanently sewn in, is it? So this one does have a nice sort of soft edge at the bottom. So I think it's at the same end, it's just that because it's more of an all-over pattern, I can use that this way round rather than the other way round, and I save myself a bit more by just cutting it at the top. Right. And then just having a little bit off at the, at the end. Right, so, okay. Now I'm not going to tear it. I'm going to cut it. Maybe I have to cut it a bit more afterwards. Got an odd flappy bit here. Okay, so which is that's the front. So where did I tear it? If I can use the torn. Oh, so I just need to glue that bit down. It's annoying me. Okay. So that will go up there, frayed edge to edge here. That should be fine. Oh, good. At least this fits a bit better. Okay, let's put some glue on and do this side. Right, so the inside is now glued on. It's not perfect, it's a little bit wrinkly, and unfortunately a bit of the glue is showing through here, which is a bit of a shame. That's one of the reasons I use a spreader, is to try to kind of keep it nice thin coating. And then I haven't seen that come through at all anywhere else. I must have just been a bit thick here, and there's a little bit showing through, so hopefully it won't. Well, it's on the inside, so it's not going to really show. So I think what I need to do now is to go take it to my sewing machine, let it dry a little bit, and sew round the outside, because it's obviously not attached at the edges at the moment. And I think once I've done that, if I need to do any further trimming, I will. There might be a bit of trimming at the bottom here. Yes, a bit of the green needs to be trimmed. Certainly on the two sides, on the front and the bottom. But the front looks fine. Have I put the ribbon on back to front? Have I put the ribbon on back to front? No, I haven't. I don't think there is a back to front actually. It just wasn't catching the gold wasn't catching the light here, and I thought, oh no, it's back to front, but it doesn't. It's not. It's the same back and front, so it's not a problem. Okay. Right. So I'll be back in a minute just to do the 4 little holes and make the binding. Fingers crossed that will go okay. Right, I've sewn around it. It's not perfect. For some reason, I always get a better finish on the back than on the front. I think I need to start on the front in future because I always always seems to get a bit rucked up by the time. I think the fabric sort of, as I go along, it just rucks up a little bit. So it's a little bit lumpy bumpy, but I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to be probably decorating the front, and I'll probably put some lace on it, and so we won't notice. But what I think I better do first is trim off all these extra bits of green that are sticking out here and there, and then we can get to the closure. Okay, the main thing is the envelope is properly covered top and bottom. That's my main concern. And I put a red bobbin in so that it's got red stitching on the inside, brown on the outside, so it's visible, but red on the inside. I quite like that. I did the opposite on the other journal that I've made for the giveaway. Because the green was on the outside, I've got red stitching on the outside, and then the red is on the inside, so I've got brown stitching on the inside. So I just did it the other way around. Okay, so now we need to decide where the holes have got to be punched. So I think, first of all, of course my ribbon doesn't entirely match up, as you'd expect, because it was very rough, rough measuring. Oh well, close enough. So I'm just going to kind of pinch it a bit here, and a bit at the bottom so I can see roughly where the middle is. And then, let's see, might just use my normal ruler for this. So if I'm allowing just over 6 inches, 6 1/4 that, and then half an inch in the middle. No, I need the big one again. I want to get my holes lined up correctly at least. So where are we? It's not easy to see it on this. Perhaps I'll do it on the front. Maybe that would make sense. And I can at least see the markings. Theoretically. 6 1/4. There, and this is a full 14 inches now. So let's just bring it in a little bit. Okay. So now we've got 13 1/2. Sorry, I'm just muttering to myself because I really have no idea what I'm doing. 13 1/2 we allowed. So it was 1/4 inch each end overhang, and then that's 13 1/2, 6 1/2, 6 3/4. Is that the middle? 6 3/4 is going to be the middle. 6 and 1 2. So there's the middle in theory. So I need to punch a hole 1/4 inch each side of the middle. So there's the middle. And I was going to allow I'm allowing an inch for the spine, aren't I? Right. So if I go, oh, that's 7. That's not the middle. 6 3/4 is here. So half an inch either side. Okay, so after much toing and froing, I think I've got the middle point is 6 3/4, and I'm going to do a 1/4 of an inch either side at 6 1/2 and 7. That's where I'm going to punch my holes, and I've marked them with my pen. So I'm going to mark them at the top as well. Okay, so we've got does that work? Does that work at 7? Okay, oh no, 7 has got to be from just a little bit in, hasn't it? So that I'm at 13 1/2 at the end. So just bring it in a little bit and then I mark it. Not right from the end. Because I've got a little bit of overhang both sides. So we are going to do mark at 7, little tiny mark. It's all going to be covered by lace anyway. At least I think it is. Not tried this before, so I don't know how lace will fit, but we'll see. And where's my 6 1/2? There. Little dots. Okay, let's do this. Let's just check they're level. Yeah, they're about right. Okay, I think they're reasonably straight between the two. Should have done that with my ribbon, shouldn't I? Never mind, never mind. We're just going to go with it. I need my hole. Let's punch these holes. It's a case of how far in do I want to go. So if I put my signature between, yeah. So I want them to come in about the same distance from the end. So it looks about. I can bring them in just a little bit more than I'd mark the hole. Okay, 1. That's my second hole. Okay, 2 holes there. Let's hope they're going to line up. Yeah. And 2 holes there. And now we just put the eyelets in and see how it goes. What kind of eyelets shall I put in? I mean, unfortunately I've had to buy black elastic. So I don't know if I really want to use gold. Maybe I'll use the darker colour. Let's grab my tweezers so I can pick the ones I want. So I use the kind of brass colour. So it's still a warm colour, but it's not as bright as the gold. So that one. Yep. That one. Is that the same? Don't think that's. Oh, I don't think they're the same. No, there's a slight difference in the colour. That one's right. And that one. These are slightly darker. I know you can't tell on camera, but I can see the difference. These four match. Right. Two up there. Okay, let's have a look inside. They look alright. Okay, now I've got to do this threading business, which I've not done. That's going like with everything else. I don't know how it'll go. Okay, so I'm going to start inside. Now this is 2mm thick. I really wasn't sure what size, but I thought that it needed to be strong enough to hold the signatures in place. So, yeah, I'm going to cut it off afterwards. I'm going to start by going up here. And back in at the top. I think this is how I've seen it done. And then in at the bottom. So this seems to be the simplest way of doing it. I know there are fancy ways of doing this, but for my first attempt, I'm not going fancy. I'm going as simple as I can manage. And then I think we just tie it. I think that's the way it works without pulling it. It's got to be tight enough that it holds everything, but not so tight that it pulls. That's always the tricky part, isn't it? Getting the tension right on these things. Is that right? Ooh. That seems a bit loose. So I think the tension's possibly tighten it up a bit there. I'm actually going to tie my knot down here so it's not so prominent. That's the theory. I can move it around. tightish. Try to. Okay. It's pulling a little bit, but I think if I make it any looser, it'll be too loose. And I'm going to just cut a big chunk off, so if I need to, I can retie it. No, that's not going to work. Looks like these are the scissors I need. Well, I've got loads of this left, so I might have to make some more of these type of journals if it works out. So let's just see how this journal goes in here. Okay, so I was going to have this as the front one. I like it, really like it, but I love this against the cover. I'm going to, well, I can move things around. So I'm just going to pop that. I know these bits will need cutting down, but I just need to make sure it's right. Have I got it about the right distance apart? Ooh, looks about right. That one goes in there. I have actually managed to get some Stamperia paper inside this one, because I couldn't help myself. I felt it just needed to go in here. Though I think it's upside down. I think that looks, yeah, well, it's hard to tell. Anyway, we put this inside, like that, and then close it up. Do up the ribbon. Yes, anything wider than this would not have worked. And there, I think we're all right. I think we've got a bit of, definitely got some give. So there we are. We have our quite soft, hopefully very forgiving journal, which I think I will need to do some decorating on the cover. I should certainly probably want to put something down here, cover up where this is not sewn terribly well. So not my best job, but I will let myself off because I've not done it before like this. I think I did a better job on the cover of the giveaway journal, to be honest, which is good. This is going to be a work in progress, but I'm happy that I managed to make it somehow. Okay, thank you for joining me for this one, and we'll come back and do some more decorating. I'm not sure what we'll do next time, but we'll come back and do some more. See you then. Bye for now.